It's time for the 1430 Connection on 1430 WNAV and 99.9 FM, spotlighting news, newsmakers, and important community issues. Now, with this week's edition of the 1430 Connection, here is WNAV news anchor Donna Cole.
Welcome to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. In the studio with me today, the Queen Anne's County Sheriff, Gary Hofmann. Thank you for joining me today.
I'm honored to be here.
Your history, you were elected in 2006, again in 2010, and in 2014. Prior to that, you were also serving with the Queen Anne's County Sheriff's Department.
I was. Yes? This year marks my 25th year in Queen Anne's County.
So you have a little bit of experience in the law enforcement world.
I do.
You also serve as chair on the Maryland Sheriff's Homeland Security Board, yes?
I am one of the members there, yes.
Chairman of the Queen Anne's County Drug Task Force, and a member of the Partnership with Children, Tobacco, and Drug Coalition, the Department of Services Advisory Council, and a board member on Talisman Therapeutic Riding, which is cool. Are you into horses?
Absolutely. I'm not into horses, but I can tell you that seeing the benefits of dealing with a person with developmental disabilities and their interaction with horses and animals has just truly been amazing. And I'm also involved on the funding side with the Canara Foundation as well. I sit on their little board that approves grant funding, which is the Canara Foundation also deals with developmentally disabled persons as well. So
you're very involved with the community. You're a graduate of the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development School, the National Sheriff's Institute 92nd session, and you attended UVA, a graduate of the FBI National Academy Class 236, yes?
That's correct, yes.
And you're a parent.
And I am a parent. I've got both ends of the spectrum.
That's your toughest job, probably, right?
It is. It is. I'm blessed to have a 4-month-old, which is really cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yes, she is quite an angel. And then I also have a daughter and son who are in their 20s as well.
So you made it through the teenage years once, and you'll be going through that again. And, yes.
I did, and I'm still young enough to enjoy it. So that's a great thing.
It's good to know that you can make it through the teenage years. I'm still not sure about that.
Yeah, and, times have changed, and I think those are going to be some of our topics today. I mean,
it is.
Times really have changed. I mean, it's a lot different than when I grew up. And I can't imagine how it's going to be with my 4-month-old when she gets to be 16.
Right. Recently, we had an accident here on the western side of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge on Bush's Frontage Road. A gentleman by the name of Christopher Dillahunt, age 27, was driving a Ford Taurus eastbound on Bush's Frontage Road at a high rate of speed when the vehicle crossed the center line, sideswiped a Toyota Camry. The Ford Taurus then rotated and was T-boned by another vehicle. Laurel Zeiler, age 81, died as a result of the accident. Several others are in the hospital. Police say heroin use by Dillahunt was a contributing factor to the cause. Dillahunt is no stranger to you.
He's well known to our office as well as allied law enforcement agencies on the shore.
So starting in 2008, he was arrested by your office for, it's all public record, CDS, possession with intent to distribute, CDS possession, not marijuana. This was in, again, 2008, CDS possession of paraphernalia. He was released on his own recognizance. In January of 2017, cited by the County Sheriff's Department, driving vehicle in excess of reasonable and prudent speed on the highway. That looks like it was consolidated with the next case, which was in April 2017. He was cited by the Queen Anne's County Sheriff's Department for driving vehicle while so far impaired by drugs, and alcohol, cannot drive safely, driving while impaired by alcohol, driving while under the influence of alcohol, a bunch of different charges here. The one he was guilty of was the driving while impaired alcohol. These cases just keep going on and on. He's got a long list.
Absolutely. You can see that, and anybody can look at that on the Maryland Judiciary Case Search. Right.
And by all appearances, it looks like the law enforcement officers, including your office, has done your job.
We have. Any time that we've had interactions with him and there's been a violation of the law, he has been charged.
So my question to you is this. If you could change laws or request more resources, if you could have a conversation with the President of the United States, with Congress, with the governor, with the Maryland state legislatures, with the DEA, with the ATF, with the judges, or with the state's attorneys, which some of this you might have already had plenty of, what would you ask for at this point?
We only have a 20-minute show, right? So,
but let's get to it.
To be honest with you, I think that one of the things that we need to look at is, when an offender first starts off down the road of an illicit substance, heroin, alcohol, or whatever, really treatment needs to be in place to address those needs and concerns. I'm a big proponent of treatment for the first offense. Jail time is not necessarily as important as getting the person treatment.
And our jails are overcrowded, and they're not going to get treatment in the jail.
That is true.
Okay.
That is true. Now, there's a lot of solutions, Vivitrol and things that are coming in. Hopefully we can talk about that in a little bit. But one of the things I would say is, when you look at this guy here and you've got a situation now where this is a repeat offender over and over and over again, clearly the only answer to his second charge that you see there is jail time. He needed to be incarcerated, and for a lengthy period of time. Now, should he seek treatment in jail? Good for him. Should he take advantage of all the programs that are available to him? Absolutely he should. This clearly is a person that did not take advantage of all those things, or we wouldn't be sitting here today talking about an elderly person who innocently lost their life because somebody chose to continue a path of destruction,
Right.
And when a person is a repeat offender like this, there needs to be tough laws, both by the courts and by our legislature as well, and applied to this person specifically.
This is from the Boston Globe. As Gloucester Police Chief Leonard Campanello, you're familiar with the name, I know,
I am,
pledged in 2015 that drug users could walk into the police station, hand over heroin, and walk out into treatment within hours without arrest or treatment. The concept of help rather than handcuffs became a national sensation. And that's where we are today. So people are getting a little tired of hearing, maybe, even though addiction is a mental health issue, people are getting tired of hearing when something tragic like this happens.
Yes. That chief has a model program, and that's something that we've discussed. And we actually came out a couple of years ago with a plea to the public to say, if you have a drug or alcohol problem, come into our lobby. We will actually do, and it was modeled after their program.
Right.
We will do whatever we can to get you help. We have had people take advantage of that, and they've come into our lobby, and they've been in desperate times, and they need help, and they've realized, after a long heroin binge or being addicted to opiates or whatever the case may be, they realize that they don't know who to turn to, and they don't realize there are other resources out there, whether it's doctors, health departments, treatment centers, or whatever, but they do have a connection with law enforcement.
Right.
Sometimes bad, sometimes good. We have been very firm on our message that, and it's funny because if you Google me and you look at YouTube videos and stuff like that I've done, or even on our Facebook page is the best source, you can look, I made a very strong message to people like this, that if you are a drug user, come in and talk to us. We'll get you help. That's really paid off for us in Queen Anne's County. We've seen the results, and I'll reference one of those in a few minutes.
Yeah, and I want you to. I know you have
That's been a really great result, and I'm praying for this young man to make it successfully through treatment. But in this situation here, I also sent a very firm message, and we've got a great partnership with our state's attorney, our drug task force, and other allied law enforcement agencies on the shore or in Queen Anne's County. I sent a very strong message one day. I said to the drug dealers in Queen Anne's County, if you do not come turn yourself in, my staff and I, along with the drug task force, are going to come knocking on your door. And I made this video very clearly. 48 hours later, we executed multiple search and seizure warrants and arrests off that. And I came back and said, I told you, we're going to come get you. I really firmly believe that if you're going to do this stuff in Queen Anne's County, we're going to hunt you down.
But if the arrests aren't sticking, as in,
yeah, a lot of the cases that we have in the shore where someone's contributed to a death, yes, I want to say that both of our judges there are not lenient. We're very fortunate. I don't think you'd want to go to court in Queen Anne's County.
But this guy, Chris...
We've had a change of judges.
Okay.
So our current judges that are there, and nothing against the previous judges, I think they dealt with things differently then. I don't know the specifics as to why the judges ruled that way. But our current judges now, if you go to court in Queen Anne's County, you're looking at jail time.
Okay. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, more about the heroin epidemic in Queen Anne's County. This is Donna Cole on the 1430 Connection. We will be right back. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. In the studio with me today is the Queen Anne's County Sheriff, Gary Hofmann. We are in the midst of an opioid epidemic nationally, and Queen Anne's County is no different. Geographically, Queen Anne's County is a hop, skip, and jump from Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Wilmington, all of which have well-known open-air drug markets. You know about these?
We do. And a lot of our residents leave Queen Anne's County to go to other jurisdictions, and those other jurisdictions know it well.
Right.
That they travel from our jurisdiction over here, Middletown, Delaware even.
Right. On March 1st of this year, a post by your office, the Facebook page reads, "Our office is currently investigating the 7th suspected heroin overdose in 48 hours. We are here to help. It takes a community and support to get a person to recovery. We can't be afraid to help those who reach out. My job as your sheriff is to keep the community safe. While it is important to me to make sure individuals seek treatment, I want you to know that heroin will not be tolerated in Queen Anne's County. I will make sure that my detectives fully investigate each of these incidents and prosecute those who are responsible for distribution of drugs in this county."
That was a crazy 48 hours for us.
What do you think happened?
We quantify overdoses as anytime somebody kind of goes unconscious and we don't know what the substance is that they used, or we find drug paraphernalia there, and drug paraphernalia could be the syringe or baggie or something like that. In talking to some of those people, some used heroin, some may have been pills, and then you have a couple that deny using anything at all, but a suspected drug overdose. But we'd rather be on the safe side than sorry side. So when we have something like this, I think it's important that we put a message out quickly to let the public know, hey, there's something out there that's not that any of it's good for you, but that's actually taking lives. We lost one young man out of those overdoses.
I saw on the board too. You have 2 boards up in Queen Anne's County.
We actually have 4 boards.
4. I'm sorry, you have 4 boards up.
That's okay. Yeah, no. The bigger the message, the better. We have 4 boards up, and we like to get more boards up. But getting back to this overdose situation, within 48 hours, I mean, we're all like trying to figure out how to get a message out to the users, how to get a message out to people that are addicted to heroin. That this stuff is quickly taking lives.
Was this a batch of potent?
We don't know, because some were crushing pills and snorting pills, and some were actually using heroin, and some denied using anything at all.
Okay.
So we really can't say that we had any type of connection amongst them. We had our chief analyst immediately go in and start digging on all 6 of the people and the information we had, and we realized that none of the 5 people were connected.
Okay. Not even by a dealer, or if they... Okay.
Not at all, by anything that we would do investigation-wise. They weren't even connected. So that in itself is alarming, because if they're getting something, they're getting it from somewhere. We have no connections to where this is coming from. We had 2 people together that overdosed. You know, we had a guy and a girl that were together, and they both overdosed, obviously sharing something.
Yeah.
And
so you've seen treatment work. You've seen, you have somebody that you were aware of that came to you and asked for help. Tell me about that.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. And just the posts that you read there, we're so genuine in what we mean that if somebody has a problem, I list my cell phone number on everything.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you put it all over social media.
I do, and I want people to call me, and I want them to trust law enforcement, because this is a problem, as you stated earlier, that really is impacting Queen Anne's County. It's impacting other jurisdictions as well, and it's a national epidemic that we're all facing. You know, and I had a person reach out to me, and they sent me a text about their loved one, and I'll actually go ahead and read this text to you. I have a family member. He overdosed yesterday, and I'm omitting the names, but he overdosed yesterday in Queen Anne's County, and he has no insurance, and he's willing to go to rehab. The best number to reach him is blank. I responded back and said, hey, look, let me work on this with my contacts with the health department in the Nielsen Center and see what we can do. Well, a little bit of time passed, and this person texted me back and said, do you think we can just take him to a firehouse in Anne Arundel County, bring him over here? We're so desperate, and he is so scared. We're scared that he's going to change his mind. But so far, he is willing to go to rehab. Now, this is just a short period of time after the overdose.
Right.
So a little bit of time went by, and the person asked me which emergency room to take him to, and I said, well, take him to, you know, our Queenstown emergency room to get them treatment. So long story short, we're texting all day long, and it's been a while. It takes a little bit of time to get all these resources in place. They texted me back, and they said, any such luck, I don't think he's going to make it through the night. We've been up the last 24 hours watching him, and I don't think we can do it again. The stress is so overwhelming, and he's getting sicker by the minute. This is the desperation,
right?
You know, and I
did you didn't say take him to one of the fire departments over here?
Absolutely not. No, because we have fire departments over there.
Okay.
We have emergency rooms over there as well.
All right.
So, you know, I mean, I don't want to take and bring him to another jurisdiction.
Okay.
My goal really was, honestly, was to communicate with this family so I could intercede, or my staff could go there, and at least, you know, something as simple as, you know, just being with this person.
Yeah.
But this guy had a good, strong family and a good network of friends.
That's what it sounds like.
To do this.
And he wanted help, which is a major thing.
He wanted help, you know, which is a huge thing.
Or they wanted help. I'm sorry.
No, but they wanted help, and basically I got a hold of our doctor doctor of health over there, Dr. Ciatola, who runs our health department. And Dr. Ciatola, and we got a hold of people at the Nielsen Center through Dr. Ciatola. And our health side did a great job in getting this guy placed. This was our problem, though. We got him the insurance he needed. And I say we as a whole group, not me. But we got him all the help that he needed to get insurance. We got him a bed at a facility in Chestertown called the Widget Center.
Okay.
Got him a bed there, and the problem that we had now is this was Wednesday night. We had to get him, his bed didn't open up till Friday morning. So how do you keep him occupied?
So that there's not another OD.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So you don't get him to want to leave and go use.
Right.
And the family stayed with him from Wednesday night through Friday morning. And I got a text Friday morning saying that he was safe at 7:50 and that he was there.
What a relief, huh?
It is. That's one person that's out there. And I always say this, a person struggling through addiction shouldn't be stigmatized any differently than a person who's an alcoholic. I mean, we understand that if somebody's an alcoholic, they need treatment, they need help. Somebody who has a substance abuse issue, not in the situation that we referred to earlier where this car crash occurred, but in a situation where somebody hasn't affected other people's lives, there's
a difference.
There is a difference, absolutely.
Right. Let's take another short break. We'll come right back and hear more about what's available in Queen Anne's County. This is Donna Cole on the 1430 Connection. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. I'm in the studio today with the Queen Anne's County Sheriff, Gary Hofmann. We're talking about the opioid epidemic. What shouldn't people do when there's an overdose?
All the families want to do or friends want to do is immediately clean up what's there before law enforcement or EMS arrive. It's important to leave that there, one, so we know what's going on, because if there's other addicts in the area or other people who have addiction issues and it's a bad batch of something, we want to let the public know, hey, this brand or whatever they're using is bad. So it's important that they don't clean it up. Let us know what's there. I mean, the Good Samaritan law kicks in. We're not there to charge somebody who's overdosed. I mean, we don't make any arrests in that. And I know there's a pros and cons to that. There's a whole other segment we could talk about where people believe that you should charge somebody who uses to get them into the system versus not charging them. I think getting them into treatment and not charging them is important. There comes a time when you do need to charge them. People
are getting a little weary about how many times do you give somebody Narcan? And are you enabling their use by giving them Narcan? What's your thought on that?
Back in the day, and I say back in the day being 2 years ago, which is looking
unbelievable, right?
It is, back in the day when Narcan first came out in the last couple of years, we were giving deputies life-saving awards when they gave somebody Narcan because they saved a life. Now Narcan is carried with every single deputy every single day, and probably every deputy has deployed it, and we don't get a life-saving award anymore because it's just part of the job.
Right.
Narcan is a great tool to bring somebody back to life in an opioid issue. Where we run into problems is that family members have this or people have this and they don't notify 911 or EMS that the person has gone into an overdose state. Narcan has a very short shelf life once it's administered. So you may have a person who gets back to normal for 20 minutes.
And is back out on the street.
And all of a sudden they either reuse because they feel better because we just took away their whole high for 20 minutes, or they decide to go to sleep or do something else, and all of a sudden that opioid kicks back in, or the fentanyl or carfentanil kicks back in, then all of a sudden we have an overdose situation. I know of a family on Kent Island that through the rumor mill, which is probably very factual, has probably administered Narcan 5 times and never called emergency services to a loved one.
When, what do you do about that?
Well, I can tell you this much.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that myself, Dr. Ciatola, and our state's attorney, Lance Richardson, have all gotten on board. If you overdose in Queen Anne's County, you are going to the hospital, period. End of discussion.
So there's a record of the Narcan being okay,
and we can start the treatment process.
But then what happens with the next? Should there be a limit on the amount of times Narcan is being used on one person? But then that gets into...
We're hoping that our health system kicks in, and mental health kicks in, and treatment kicks in when they get to the ER. We're hoping that they get that window of opportunity when they get to the emergency room.
I know it's a weird question because you're asking, the same question can be said, how many times would you take away chemotherapy from somebody? Would you take away the paddles that bring you back to life?
Right.
It's the same thing.
Right.
You said there was another drug when we first started. You said if we have time to talk about it.
Vivitrol.
Tell me what that is.
Vivitrol is a great breakthrough drug. It's actually something that's injected under the skin, and it's supplanted kind of similar to some of the medications they put
subcutaneously. What does it do?
Basically, it blocks your opioid receptors.
And it's been successful?
Very successful. I've talked to people that are on Vivitrol, and they went 2 or 3 days without opioids. They got the Vivitrol shot, and then they know that anything they use that's opioid-based will not give them a high. So it kind of gives them a 30-day window, and you can give Vivitrol every 30 days. But the person has to be, and this is what it comes down to in every single case that we're at, the person has to want treatment, and the person has to want help. I know of people that are out there in our community that have overdosed and overdosed and overdosed, and they do not think they have a problem.
Do you have Narcan for your canines?
We do have Narcan.
Have you ever had to use it for?
We have not, no. Thank goodness.
I go back to all this vast experience you have in law enforcement, and it's a lot, and as a humanitarian, and you were out there on Facebook putting your phone number out there, and for those that don't know, there is actually a hashtag called Tag the Sheriff, which gets to be kind of funny, especially when someone posts a photo of you with and then says Tag the Sheriff.
Well, everybody, I'm always available, and I think that's kind of where this started, because I really do pay attention to social media because it is a new trend. And I know that I'm older, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like very hard for me to adapt to something, but we want news now.
Yeah.
And we want information now. And if something happens in the county, people want to know what it is now. And we're very responsive to that. And
I mean, you're giving out pediatrician recommendations.
I will have to say here that there's 2 sites. There is the official Queen Anne's County Office of the Sheriff's site.
I get that.
And then I have my own personal Facebook page. But yeah, I do have good experience with a pediatrician. I won't mention that on the air, but with my daughter. But it's
But anyway, so yes.
Long story short, but tagging the sheriff is funny because if somebody has a problem in a local grocery store, they think the sheriff can fix it.
Absolutely. And wait, you can't get more milk brought to the...
Oh, I can. I can do my best. I'll help them out.
Right.
Whatever we need to do.
Or too many vultures in the trash can by Safeway. Yeah.
Yes. Or the vultures on a roof at a house one day.
Yes, exactly.
But the patch says, I always make light of this, and in a good way. I take my job very seriously. I love what I do. I have a commitment to ensuring the safety of our community and our county. I think it's important, though, to be accessible as the sheriff, and I am the sheriff 24 hours a day, and I know that it kind of does cut into some personal time once in a while, but for good reasons.
Right. And I think everybody understands that. And
it's funny because so I think that's where the Tag the Sheriff thing kind of started.
It is funny.
And our patch says to serve and protect. So I've even been known to serve tea at a ladies' social before. So for the Arts Council in Queen Anne's County, so it's been a great.
Back to all this experience, though. Have you ever had a more tumultuous time in law enforcement than this currently with the heroin epidemic?
No, not only are we dealing with the heroin epidemic, we're dealing with the school issues that are going on nationwide.
That too, right.
I think this is a very challenging time for the public. It's a very challenging time for the younger generation. It's extremely challenging for law enforcement, and I will blame social media for a lot of the things that are going on, because we used to laugh that you could Google on YouTube how to fix a lawnmower.
Now you can
find anything on YouTube, so, and the younger generation, I guess really I want to say it's probably not, they don't have to adapt to me. I think we need to start adapting to the younger generation because they're not changing.
100%. I agree with you. And every person that has come in here, that have a message they need to get out to the younger generation that I ask, especially about social media. Are you on Snapchat? Is your office on Snapchat or Twitter? I know you're on Twitter. Facebook feeds to Twitter. Are you on Snapchat and Instagram?
We are on Instagram. We are not on Snapchat.
Okay, that's the younger generation.
We do. We need to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, I literally just don't know that I have the time to be Snapchatting. I'd like to. I'd really like to.
There's Tag the Sheriff.
Yeah, they can tag the sheriff. That might be my next thing. So.
Thank you very much for joining me today.
No problem. It's been a complete honor.
This is Donna Cole on the 1430 Connection. We will see you next week.